There we go. Good evening. Good afternoon, everyone. How's it going? Welcome to Thursday Live. I'm Steve Leahy. Thank you for joining me. We are working on the Corvette today one more time, I think, before I switch over and finish it up. Well, finish it up on my own. I think that's the way to go on that one. So I was going to do more of the clouds today, but you guys saw that last week. And if you were on Monday, you saw that as Monday as well. So I thought it'd be fun to work on the wheels today on this. For this painting, it doesn't really matter how I kind of get things done because of the way that the composition is set up. So that would be fun. I was going to time lapse them, but honestly, I'm videoed out for this week. I did 3 episodes of Open Studio and uploaded all those for the next 3 weeks. I got a Model Monday video up for Monday, so if you're following that or saw that, there's going to be a new Model Monday on Monday, and I also did the Tech Tuesday as well. So I'm videoed out. So I'm going to, I'm going to just do this one with you guys, I think. All right, so welcome everyone. All right, let's get right to it. Okay. Say hello. Paul, what's up, buddy? There we go. You know what's up. Mr. Fingerprint, what is going on? I haven't seen, you know what, I think I got, even though I'm following all your stuff, I don't know, I think I got to check my notifications because I haven't seen stuff from you lately, and I know you're cranking, I know you're doing all kinds of stuff, and I really did enjoy it, especially your amazingly crazy little kid there. He is a pile of cute, that boy. Bobby Silva, what's up, buddy? Bobby, I was just reading an article about the new Bourne and Sagamore bridges. I didn't realize that was a thing that was coming. So pretty exciting if they ever get it off the ground. It sounds like they're having money problems, but after the big dig, I'm surprised that the feds would give Massachusetts any money for any project. But I saw the plans, and it's the 3 options are interesting. It's very cool. All right, so what we got here, this is the Corvette. I ended up switching to the macro lens, which I don't know why I don't use this more often. Actually, I'm going to darken it a little bit. The reason why is because this camera now is way away from me. It's normally when I use the other lens, it's like right in the middle of everything, and it's like in the way. But with this lens, I can be far away from the surface here, but also still, let's turn that on. There we go. But I can, so the camera's, I don't know if you can even see this. Probably not. So this is the whole board right here. And the camera is usually like right here. If you watch the Monday night feed, you can see the camera. You can see the camera in the shot, the main camera here. So it's usually like right here, and it's focused in, and can't see comments, and I'm fighting it. I'm like, man, I have this great macro lens, and now the cameras, you can't even see it. It's way off. It's like up here. So yeah, so that's going to work out good. I should use it more often, but the only problem is with that lens is that I can't back out. I can't get the full view like I can with the other lens. But that's why I have now, I moved this camera a little bit. So now at least I got the full view. So when I show off 543s, I can, have this view here. So that's kind of the behind the scenes crapola that we go through around here. All right. Oh, doing a lot on TikTok. I actually dumped out on TikTok. I just took it off my phone and everything only because it was, there's good content, obviously, like what you're doing and others, but it was blowing up my phone with the weirdest stuff. So I'm like, you know what? I don't use it that much. And I didn't need another social media platform. So I just ended up bagging out on it. But yeah, I know people are get a lot out of it, that's for sure. All right, let's get to it. So we're going to at least do this front wheel. It should take me about an hour to get the front wheel done on this. Hour and a half-ish maybe. So I think that'll be perfect for the feed. It'll give us something to do, and I'll get some stuff done on this too. I've been working on the 543s for this week. I've actually done them for the week of the end of the month, which will be good because I think I'll be away. I'll either be in Massachusetts or Wisconsin. It's looking like Wisconsin right now. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, I wanted to get the 543s done for that before I left either place. So so I'm in the process of just getting done the regular ones now. So again, it's going to be a big week. Within the span of 7 days, I would have got 15 of them done, which is wonderful. Which also brings me to my next point. I put it. It's pinned on the messages there. So the sale is extended. If you want to grab anything, now is the time. You get. I bumped up the amount for the sale to 20% off. And it's going to run through the whole first week of September. So last chance to get in on that sale. So if there's anything you want, 543s or originals or prints or anything, it even works on the download, which is $2. So it's just because I can't figure out how to, not have it do that. So here we go. Cody Adams, what's up, buddy? All right. Yeah, James, I keep thinking about I know you use a lot of that clear armor, and there are instances on some of the things that I've been doing where I was thinking about grabbing some of that. The only thing that's holding me off is it's you have to have the light and all that and rotisserie and all that. So I don't know, but it seems pretty cool. Can you guys see this? Probably not. If I move this over and move this over, that'd be better. So what I'm going to do is we're just going to kind of drop in the wheel itself, not the tire, because that's not going to make a great video. It's interesting, but it's not going to make a great video because of all the tread and everything on here. But we're going to do the chrome anyway. So what I got to do is I got to break this thing down so that I can base in the overall color. And basically what it's made up of here, there we go, is the gray here, that's the reflection of the ground here. And then you have the sky with the clouds, and that's pretty much it. The rest is highlights and darker details. So it's like I said, it's not going to take me too long to get this done. The one thing I am going to take out, if you notice right here, is the upside down reflection of the trees. So I got to get those out of there just because, I have to get the green out of there. If I leave that reflection there, it'll work. But if I put the green in and there's no trees around the car, it gives it doesn't really tell the story very well. So, all right. So now you're caught up on how we're going to do this. There we go. What else we got? Dean, what's up, buddy? There we go. Dean's not at work, so he's able to watch. Finally, that's awesome, Dean. Thank you all, by the way. It reminded me when I saw Dean, because Dean comments on a lot of different videos, and I really, really appreciate that. So thank you to everyone who comments on the videos. It really does. I mean, obviously hitting the like button, and if you're not subscribed, subscribing, but interacting with the videos like that really helps out the video as far as the way then YouTube turns around and promotes it to other people. So I appreciate all the comments, certainly appreciate the likes, and yeah. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out, I didn't mean to do that. Did I screw this up already? Probably. Let's see what I can do here. Yeah, why not? Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm cutting out the gray first. The gray, it doesn't really matter. I could do the blue first, but we're going to do the gray first just because I feel like it, and I already started cutting it, so there we go. So that's the gray. There is gray around the outside of the wheel too, like all the way around, but if I cut out that, obviously the middle will fall out, so I don't want to do that. But I can grab the bottom of the wheel here and bring it up to about there. So how's everyone's week going? Good? Holding our breath for Florida in the middle of getting ready for this hurricane that's rolling across Central Florida. So hopefully they do all right. Get the clean, blah, blah, get the clean armor. You wish you did it sooner. Chris, what's up, buddy? Thanks. Yeah. Michael, what's up? There you go. Yeah, I don't have a ton of uses for it. But the things that I do have use for it, it would be really nice to have. Again, you weigh that whole investment, return on investment kind of thing. And right now it's still on the side of, that it's not overly like I don't know that I'd use it enough to make it worth it to have it in the shop. But I know I will. So, and actually, when we were talking about Marge and all her sculpture stuff, it had come up with her too as well, because she could get a lot of use out of it with the sculpture stuff she does, and having an instantly fast clear coat like that would be super beneficial to her. So we're going to do it. It's just a matter of when and when, I guess. So cheers to that. Today's cheers is coffee, because coffee. All right, that's going to be good. Do I want to do the other wheel too? I might as well do both wheels at the same time. You guys will get a twofer here. So the rear wheel is actually really easy because it's in perspective, so it's more compressed than the front wheel. So there's really a whole lot less that goes on with the back wheel, but it's still basically the same kind of thing. There's the sky reflection and then the gray of the ground reflecting there too. So we'll do both at the same time. Okay, let's move. Want to move this? Yeah, I'll move this. Put over there. Put that over there. Move this back over here. Good. All right, so super crazy important that this gets lined up right, because I'm kind of floating these wheels in the middle of everything, and if they're not in the right spot, that would be super bad and not like a sexy cheeseburger. So I want to make sure this is dead on, exactly where it needs to be. So again, like the way I do this, it's always like I'll find a landmark, like right in the corner where the rocker panel meets the wheel, that little corner right there. The crest of the opening of the wheel well is a good one. In the front, this little, you can't see it because my big fat head is in the way, where the wheel, the flare for the front fender kind of starts, that's a good one to grab. So if I grab points like that around the painting, I'm going to move this back down. You know what? I'll turn this off because you don't need to see my big fat head. So if I move this around the painting until I get those opposite points lined up, then I'll know it's really lined up well. I'm not guessing there. Okay, good. Grab a jumbo eraser here. Don't get hurricanes in the UK, just rain, rain, and more rain. Oh God, Dean. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that you guys are right out there, obviously, sitting in the Atlantic, and because of the way that the hurricanes ride up the coast here, you guys, I didn't realize you guys don't get hurricanes. I would have guessed you did from the south coming up, but yeah, that's interesting. And I do know you get a lot of rain. It's very London-y. All right, this gray, I'm just going to mix up a gray to do this. So these are different than the 543s, where the 543, I would, just use that white of the board and then just, kind of spray some black on there till it got the gray I wanted to be. With a painting like this, it needs to be solid. It needs to be the gray. And that's the big difference between the 543s and these paintings here. They just, the 543s tend to have this almost like kind of watercolory pencil look to them because I'm using only black and white. There is no mixed gray. But for this, I'm doing it. There we go. Hey Astral, what's up? There we go. Hereford and Hampshire, hurricanes hardly ever happen. Yeah, yeah. All right, so a little bit of white in there and a touch of black. So what I'm going for is the lighter of the lighter kind of gray. It's because what I'll be doing is I'll be shading with black to get the, well, shading on it. There we go. So by doing the lighter black, I have something to build off of. So I'm just taking a little bit of black and adding it in there until I get a nice light gray. Yeah, that's going to work. Yeah, it's going to work. There we go. Yeah, and then for where I'm at right now in the Midwest here in Ohio, they don't get hurricanes really. They'll, if a storm cuts straight into the Gulf of Mexico and comes straight up into the country, usually by the time it reaches here, it's because the hurricane needs the warm water to fuel it, essentially. By the time it hits landfall, it immediately starts to weaken. So they don't get, they don't get hurricanes here either. It's, they'll get the remnants of the tropical storm, essentially. But yeah, I don't miss that because, it's funny, living in New England, this is hurricane season. We would get hurricanes all the time. And that's when you lose power in the Northeast. You'd think you'd lose it, in the wintertime with all the blizzards and everything. But for the most part, unless a tree comes down on a line in a blizzard, you don't lose your power in the snowstorm. But hurricane season's a whole different thing. I mean, you can almost guarantee that at least once or twice at the end of the year. Ooh, you don't want to do that. There we go. Once or twice in August. There we go. In New England, you always lose power. It's a given. Late summer, early fall becomes the time when all that happens. Come on, man, with the magnets. That's what I mean about the magnets. I can't use magnets the same way on the ampersand board that I do. What I really should do with the ampersand board is experiment with some sheet magnets. Like I have this sheet magnet this is a sheet magnet that this is on right now. Now obviously this isn't strong enough, but if there was a strong enough sheet type magnet that I could put on the back of that to attract the magnets on the front of it to give it like a boost, that might work. But it's just going to be a matter of finding a strong enough sheet magnet. Most of the sheet magnets, this is a nice heavy duty one that they use in like automotive signage type of thing. But most of the sheet magnets you can get online are garbage, they don't have a lot of magnetic pull to them at all. So I'm just going over this really lightly, letting it build up, nice and slow. And what I'm going for is complete, just solid opacity with this. There's a shadow on that, so I want to make sure I'm not seeing the wrong things. There we go. You got to get to see the lights in the way. Oh, that's the other thing. It's total stream of consciousness, and I'll just keep unloading stuff on you guys. So sorry about that in advance. But what I'm going to do is this week I'm going to put up a community post on the YouTube channel. So I need suggestions for what you guys would like for Tech Tuesday. I have a list of things, but it would be nice if we have it a little bit more interactive. Ultimately, when I do the membership for the YouTube, that will be an option that the members will have to suggest things like that. But since I don't have that up and running, I'll make a community post so people can give me their suggestions for Tech Tuesday. All right, so the back wheel now. Yeah, you guys got that. Okay. So we had a really dry summer here in central U.S. I shouldn't say central U.S. We're more like East Midwest. We're not really like central, like Kansas is. To me, Kansas Kansas City is mid, right? They're exactly halfway across the country. But anyway, we had a really dry spring and dry summer, so it just started like catching up. Like we've been having rain a lot lately, so it's strange. It's like we've had 2 springs, so all the grass pretty much died, and then we started getting all the rain, and now we got brand new grass again. So pissing down again. I watch a lot of YouTube, and I have some a bunch of the YouTubers that I watch are from the UK, and Wales, and I've been learning the best like insults and the best like slang. You guys got it nailed. I don't know. It just you guys got it nailed. It's some funny stuff. All right, so we won't get into it because a lot of the stuff is very not safe for work, I guess. But yeah, some of the insults are meant. All right, so there's the gray. And you can see it's weird. It's really light. Of course, when it's put up against a lighter color like the white, it seems super dark. Now it's not, but it does look that way. All right, so let's do the blue next, and then we'll be off and running. I gotta get rid of. I don't actually need all of these. I have all the cutouts here, so I'm kind of wrestling with them. So I'm gonna move some of them off because we don't need all of them. Actually, we don't need any of them. I'll just grab them as I need them. How about that? All right, so I'm going to use this cutout here. This is the cutout for the, what was this for? Oh, for the, why did I do that? I don't know why I had to cut that out. But anyway, this was for the red part. But it's far enough away from the wheel that I can use this. Okay, so the blue is the same thing. Make sure you can't. Slide that over. See it? So the blue's the same deal. I'm just going to cut out all the areas that get that light blue. No such thing as bad weather, just the wrong clothing. That's absolutely true. What do we got here? So the whole hub here is actually blue. There's some gray in it too, but it's mostly blue. So we're gonna cut the whole thing. Just the hub of the wheel, I mean. There we go. And this is the piece that I thought I screwed up earlier. This little bit right here is blue as well. So if you watched last week and the Monday feed, this Corvette is bright yellow. It's my buddy Mark Reeves' car, and eventually I'm going to paint this car the correct color, the yellow. But I'm thinking what I'll do is paint it a little bit bigger, maybe 8x10, and he's got neat graphics on this. Actually, the back end of this car is black, which is cool. And I know it sounds weird, but when you see it, it makes sense. It just I love the way he kind of did the graphics on this. Really simple, but totally unique. You'd never miss this car going down the road. It's like a banana. All right, so that's good. You know what else I could do? I wonder if I could pull this off. Probably. No, it's too close to that. We're gonna sacrifice this template because I don't think I'll need it again. And by sacrificing it, what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to tape this opening right here, this opening that I cut out for that red piece. I'm going to tape that shut. And the reason why it's sacrificed is because once I put the tape on the copy, I'll never get that off without ruining the template. But I want to grab the door handle here because the door handle is also blue. So I can kind of kill two birds with one stone. Oh, look, I just went over the wheel. Did I cover what I cut out? Let's see. Nope, we're good. Okay. I thought I put the tape over the cutout. Sliced my fingers a few times cutting out. Yeah, Dean, these things are brutal. They're on my other bench. I have all the X-Acto blades that I've jammed into myself. And when I do it, I pull the blade out and I put it on the bench and I mark off how deep the blade went in. Some of them are ugly. Yeah, these things do a good job cutting, that's for sure. All right, same deal here. Just going to reline this up. Let's use the same points because I know that I used them on the last one. So if I use them on this one, it'll be in the same spot. It's pretty straight ahead. good. Magnet. Saves you biting your nails. Yeah, no kidding. All right, so there's the blue. What do I got in here? I got gray in here, right? Yeah, so I'm going to have to clean that out. Just going to dump the gray and do the same thing with blue. So it'll be white with a little bit of blue in it. We'll do daylight blue, I think. That has produced a really nice sky blue, which makes sense. I call it daylight blue, so it makes sense. All right. There we go. Tim, John Luke Smith. Tim, what's up, buddy? What did I do with the... I put it in the wrong spot. Yes, I did. No? Yeah, what did I do with it? I did. I put the white in the wrong place. There we go. Lewis, what's up, buddy? Happy Thursday to you, too. Airbrush discipline. What, me putting stuff in the wrong spot? That's not airbrush discipline. Ah, boy. All right, white. So back to the empty brush here. So I'll put a little bit of white in this. I don't need too much, 3 or 4 drops. This white essentially, this white is pre-reduced. It's 1:1. You can just barely see it under there. So it's 1 part opaque white to 1 part 4011. And that's kind of my go-to white for all these brushes. It's super over-reduced. They recommend 10%, but this is 100% reduction. But with these really small brushes, it works with those brushes. If I was using something bigger, like, you know, the Eclipse CS, like this brush here, or like, well, actually, not this brush. This Grex has a 0.2 millimeter nozzle in it. But if this brush had the, 0.3 or 0.5 in it, reducing 1:1 is way too much. It just will flood out. So it's, like I keep saying, it's reduction for what you want to get out of it, and also the brush you're using. So that's the key with that. Lunch for today is crab cake and buffalo wings. I haven't had lunch yet, Michael. That's mean. That's awesome. Oh my gosh, crab cakes and buffalo wings. Jeez, I'm starving now. I love crab cakes too much. Yeah, too much. There was a place back in New England that had amazing crab cakes, and yeah, I love them too much. All right, I just weighed about 8,000 pounds. All right, so I'm going to grab a little bit of daylight blue here, just a tiny bit, and I'm going to mix that in with the white. And there's not that much. There's about 3 or 4 drops of paint at the bottom, the white paint. So this is not much at all. Actually, I need more white because I put too much blue in. There we go. Yeah, that's better. I want to, same thing. I want a really light blue here because I want to be able to add, like the more blue to it, So it's much easier and much cleaner to add a darker color over a lighter color than it is to go in reverse. Only because with the white, it tends not to spray as well as the other colors. So if you want control and a fade, it's better to do the darker color over the white. Just put the lighter color down first and then go from there. Flying buffalo. Oh my gosh. All right. So there's a nice light sky blue right there. Let's move this back so you can see what I'm doing. Put this over here because I don't need that. So one thing that got bumped around this summer, and I'm kind of bummed about it. I didn't get a chance. I was going to do some construction to the art cave down here and build a kind of a small studio for the live feed. It's great where I have it right now, but I want to kind of step it up a little bit with soundproofing and all kinds of stuff. And and the summer got away from me. I didn't get a chance to do what I wanted to do. The big reason is because I really have to almost shut down for the construction period, and I just couldn't find a time to do that, to shut everything down. So that's still on the books. It would be nice to have a nicer area to do the live feeds. But that is one plan that did not happen yet for the summer. I got it from the local grocery store. That's one thing. There's like a direct line for some reason, from like Maryland to here. So we get a lot of crab cakes or crab here in the seafood department. Plus, there's a lot of lake fish here too. So they do a lot because you can get a lot of stuff from Lake Erie. However, anything else like coastal seafood is always frozen. And I just can't do, it's not worth it to do frozen like, lobster or whatever. I took cod for granted, that's for sure. We used to have it every Friday growing up, and I kind of, it's like one of those things when you have it every week, you get to the point where you don't really mind if you don't have it. But now it's like we can't really get it around here. The good news is, so cod from the ocean is a white fish, so it's very similar to a lot of the lake fish around here. So I can get my fill that way, but yeah. Why are we talking about food? Stop. I mean, you guys can talk about food if you want. So same deal here. It's really slow and let it build up. And it's more important with this color because it's so light. It's hard to see. So it's easy with a light color that's like or not even light color. If you're spraying one color onto another and it's similar in value, it's really difficult to see. So that's when usually I get into problems or have, blowouts or flooding or underspray or all that stuff, because I can't really see the paint going on because it's close to the value. So I just got to kind of paint on faith, just kind of go through the motions, even though it doesn't look like anything's going on the surface, but I know it is. And then if you kind of do it slow enough, you won't get any kind of issues with flooding out or anything like that. Swordfish, tuna, and shark. Yeah, and lobster. Yeah, that's the thing. We were just talking about it. Marge found when we were out in Massachusetts, she found the joy of a good lobster roll. So we were actually visiting my sister up in, she lives in southeastern New Hampshire. And so Maine is right there. It's 10 minutes away, the Maine coast. So so we got her some good lobster roll, and she really enjoyed that. Lobster. She's ruined for life. There's no going back. Yeah, Tim, you can't, yeah, there's no, yeah. So there, I don't know, D'Angelo's, that's an East Coast thing, right? The sub shop, D'Angelo's, the chain? I think it is. So for those who don't know, it's like Subway, but basically, regional, I guess. But anyway, D'Angelo's will also sell a lobster roll. And my mom loves them. She gets them every week. She's a lobster fiend. But even the fast food lobster rolls are really good there. All right, so that should be it. Lobster. Yeah, lovely. And the best part about this is it's actually lined up. That's a good thing. Because sometimes when you get to that point, you pull it off and it's a mess. It's like, I missed. It's in the wrong spot. So it's a new level. Yeah, no kidding. So I haven't brought it down. Bobby Silva's on. I haven't brought Marge down the Cape yet. We haven't been there long enough so that we could take a trip down the Cape. But yeah, I'll get her down the Cape, and there's a place in Falmouth that I really like their lobster rolls too. So we'll get that done too. Again, it ruins you. It's kind of the same thing as if you go to New York and have a bagel. It's as my New York friend Dom Famularo said way back, eating a New York bagel changes your religion. And he was right. They're different. They're just, yeah, it's just better. And I think most places have something like that. You know, they have their thing that, you know, even though other places have it, just it's not the same. Yeah. Yeah, and it's true. It's true, Tim. And I was from Boston, so you get this New Yorker. I don't even know if he likes the Yankees, but it didn't matter. He's from New York. So, you know, he comes in with the bags of bagels when I was working at this other place when I was a kid. And he said, yeah, this will change your religion. I'm like, yeah, New York is talking about, bagels is like, I don't know, someone from Chicago talking about deep dish pizza. You know, it's going to change your life and all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah. Had that bagel, it changed my life. It was a good bagel. Super good. And he brought them up from New York. It wasn't even like he just got them. I mean, he did just get them because he drove up, but still. It was like, this is a good bagel. So, all right, great. So blue is in, gray is in. So next thing to do is to just hit the dark areas. Same thing, block those in really generally. And then I'll be able to kind of do a little bit of shading, put the clouds in, and these wheels are going to come together pretty fast. So let's get the darker thing in. Grab a new copy here. Oh. I don't know why I'm doing this. I don't even have to. What I'm doing is I'm looking through the pre-cut, the ones I already cut, to see if I can, use bits and pieces out of them. I have so many of these copies, I could just cut a new one. But, yeah, just use this one. Yeah, that's one of the things, and I learned that from my dad. My dad would eat anything. He would try anything, literally. And he traveled a lot. His company sent him everywhere. So what he would do is when he would go to a new country, the first thing he'd do is say, okay, what do you guys do? What's the food from here? And that's what he would do. So I picked that up too. If I'm in a new place, what I really, really want is what the locals are known for. And rarely are you let down. Honey Rivera, what is up, honey? All right, so what are we doing here? Let's see. That's going to be, what is that? Oh, that's a reflection of the building. This little reflection right here. There's a building right on the other side of this car over here. Had I known that, I would have left that out. But I didn't, so it goes in. Oh well, it is what it is. The reason why I would leave something like this out is because, again, it doesn't really add to the story at all because you can't see the building and it doesn't appear as this car is. I mean, I do have the gravel on the ground in the painting, but it doesn't give you any indication that there's anything else there. So by putting the building in the reflections, it sometimes makes it kind of discontinuous, I guess. A bit late. You get a pass, honey, all the time. Honey, today's cheers of choice is coffee, and I know you like that. Makes me happy. All right, so anything that's really dark gets this this cutout. You guys can see what I'm doing, right? The other investment here, there are two investments that I got to make for the live streams. One, I got to get a better monitor. I just kind of grabbed a regular TV, which is fine, but it doesn't have the resolution that I need. So I've noticed sometimes the videos are out of focus and I can't tell that from the monitor, which isn't good. So I got to invest in a better monitor for this, and I also got to get a voiceover mic. and I've been waffling on the mic that I want to get. I'm pretty sure I'm going to end up with a Shure mic that I've been looking at. I'm still not 100% sold. The other thing I'm going to do, since I'm going to be doing black anyway, I'm going to have to, see, I should have used a new template for this. I'm going to grab the wheel wells too, inside the top of the wheel wells here. Michael, have a good one, man. You too. Thanks, buddy. All right. So I'm going to tape off all that. Again, now I can't use any of that anyway. So so this way, because I don't want any paint getting in, because this is going to be black where the wheel well is, I don't want any of that paint kind of going through any of those cutouts that I already have. I should have probably just used the new copy. Excuse me, new copy. Okay, so there's one wheel well. Again, this is just it's right here. The wheel well is black. So since I'll be doing that in the wheel itself, it just makes a lot of sense to kind of knock these out at the same time. Oh, you know what I didn't do with the blue? I didn't do the door handle. I wonder if I still have that blue in the airbrush. Okay, good. I didn't clean out the brush yet, so before I do the black, so there's the black cutout, I'm going to put this blue one back up because I didn't spray the little door handle here. Oh, honey, thank you. You guys, the super chats are awesome. Thank you so much. It definitely, it means the world. Absolutely means the world. All right, so we're going to line this door handle up real quick. Actually, I can just use the blue I already sprayed because I already lined it up. Ooh, what am I going to do here? Mr. Wheeler, is that what I just saw? What's up, buddy? I have been missing your Saturday feeds. I really, it's funny now. So everyone in the UK, everyone knows Fee. He's awesome. So I've been training myself to get like all my like around the house chores done before Svi goes on. So he's been going on. For me, it's around the same time. I think it's about 2 o'clock where I'm at. So it's about 7 o'clock GMT. But yeah, I try to get everything done in the morning so I can be in the studio and just throw his stream on. It's a lot of fun. Adrian, what's up? There we go. And Mr. Wheeler, so I've been I started the Model Monday video. It's not going to be a regular thing, but I thought I'd share my scale modeling fun with the YouTube group. So you'll have to, I don't know. You'll have to let me know what I need to do. All right, blue. I still got it here. What's funny about that, Svi, with the scale modeling, like obviously I do a lot more airbrushing than scale modeling. So I know that I can cover a lot of the building flaws, the building problems with paint. So where I think it's the other way with the normal scale modeler, they have it down. The building part is solid, and then they can cover their paint problems with a good build. So been really busy at work, so haven't had time to stream. Promise I'll stream this Saturday. Awesome. No, that's really good. For those who don't know, Svi also is a prolific tattoo artist. So a lot of his tattoo stuff is it's pretty amazing. So, all right, so that worked out stunning. So that gives me that little blue, sky blue door handle as well. What else am I doing? I think that's everything for that blue. No, I'm not going to do it. The blue would work out really well as on the windshield too. There's some blue in there, but I'm gonna cancel that. I won't do that because we're gonna get the wheels done. All right, so let's jump back to the darker color here. Now that that's done, same deal here. I want to make sure, just really want to make sure that this is lined up, because sins are harder to take care of later on, you know, in the painting. The farther you get along, if you have to start fixing stuff at this point, it becomes more ugly. All right, so drop that there. Oh, Bobby, yeah, you won't be disappointed. He's got some good stuff going on. Yep. He made quite a career painting guitar bodies too. So there's a lot of good stuff out there from him. But you know, he paints everything. So he paints panels. I was bummed I didn't win his Supergirl. He gave that away, which is pretty amazing. And he's got a cute dog too, so that helps. All right, black. So this is just going to be straight up black. What I'm going to use though, nope, I'm not going to do that. All right. I was going to use a thinner black, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use a more opaque black. And again, this is all relative. Like if I show you this and tell you can't see it, but it's 1 to 5. It's 1 part paint to 5 parts reducer, so it's really over reduced. Through this brush, this Micron B, this paint sprays very opaque, with a lot of opacity, believe it or not, because this paint processes paint the way it does. 1 to 5 through this brush is very dense, very black, essentially. Where if I sprayed this through the, like I said, through the Eclipse, the CS, this is going to be like water. It's going to be, you know, like gray water. So it really, the reduction really has a lot to do with the brush that you're using it in. Gotta stop doing that. Not putting stuff away. All right, anyway. So 1 to 5. I'm going to start with the wheel wells. Just same thing. I want to kind of keep it under control. So I want to, is that good? You see that? Yeah. So I really want to make sure that I'm not like trying to get this black in one shot, because again, it's just going to mean problems. It's going to mean, you know, flooding and underspray and not a really sharp, crisp line. Bobby, he goes on Saturdays. For us here, it's about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. I think it's 7, right, Svi? It's 7 GMT, which is 2 o'clock our time, I think. But it's early afternoon, so if you just click on notifications for him, it'll let you know when he goes live. All right, so the building here, this little guy right here, I don't want to really hit that super hard. I don't want that black. I just want to indicate it. Yeah, 7 to 9. There we go. So I've got some gray on there already. I'll lift this up real careful so you can see it. And even there, it's really too dark, but I definitely don't want to get any more paint on that. So I'll just use another copy to kind of block it off so I can get the other stuff down to the, you know, the black that it needs to be. There you go. Oh, really? I didn't know that. I gotta go check out Lewis's group. That's good. Same thing. So I'll just remove this copy like this to block off that the reflection again, just so I make sure I don't get anything on it. Okay, back up to the wheel well. And I am, so the bouncing back and forth for that wheel well lets that paint dry as well. And that's and that really helps too. That helps to, you know, if I'm trying to spray this all black all at once, you know, I am letting it dry in between coats, but sometimes you push it, you know, sometimes it's not quite dry yet, and you hit it again, and that's when there are problems. Oh, sweet, thanks. You didn't have to do that, buddy. Thank you, though. Appreciate it. All right, so now it's done. So we move on to the rear wheel here. So again, you know, I was talking about, and I mention it all the time. So the super chats and all that, you know, the Facebook stars, all that stuff, it immediately goes right back into the feed. So the things I'm talking about, like the microphone, and even you know, working on the new, you know, the new kind of recording space, all that's done by the money that's reinvested from you know, your support. So this year was all about that. This year for me was all about getting all that, you know, the social media stuff up to speed. Um, and yeah, and you guys have just been amazing. So thank you. All right, that is the black. Yay, lovely. Not a whole bunch of stupidity there either. I like that. Okay. All right. So black, that's good. And then to answer the next question, so when I go to do the wheel, you know, how do I protect that? You know, this part here, once it's all done, I'll end up masking that off. Now, normally I don't use a lot of adhesive masks, but in this case, I will mask that off because I'm doing all the work now on it. I don't want to have to fix it because there's overspray. So I'll end up masking both of these wheels off and then doing the tires. So that's how that's going to happen. Again, these paintings have been a little bit out of order from the way I usually do them because I've been, you know, they've been featured on the live streams a bunch, but yeah, for the most part, that's how it goes. Yes, yeah, Tim, I will do the lettering on this, these wheels. Yeah, it just seems like something that needs to be done. I could certainly take it off. That would make it a lot easier, and it wouldn't take away a lot from the painting. But right now, I'm leaning towards doing the lettering. However, that may change too. But yeah, right now I'm leaning towards doing. That's a great question because lettering is always tough because people know what letters are supposed to do. You know, they know what they look like. So if you're off a little bit on a letter, you know, when there's lettering on something, people know right away. The other really big thing with lettering and composition is anytime you have a word in your painting, it's going to demand all the attention. So your eye just goes to that because your brain's used to reading, used to processing words. So unless you want a whole ton of attention in that one spot, it's a good idea. I usually leave lettering out if I can. In this instance, the star of the show really is that front fender and that wheel. So having the lettering there just reinforces that, you know, kind of dive bomb to that area of the painting. So I'm okay with it there, I think. So there's your super long answer. Yeah, exactly, lettering in portraits. So yeah, it's crazy how strong our brain sucks onto that, you know. And you'll notice it. So I don't want to say people who don't know what they're doing, but people who aren't aware of that when they're painting, you'll see a painting and it might be like technically okay or even on the lower end of okay, like, you know, they're struggling with some stuff. When they get to, like, if it's a sign, like a side of a building and there's like a storefront and it comes time for them to paint in the letters, you'll notice that the paintings will be kind of, like I said, like they'll be loose or whatever, but then when they get to letters, they'll paint all the letters like as if it's written in a book, and it's just your eye goes right to it, and it's one of those things. So anyway, all right. So now we get to just mess around with the paintbrush. So we're good. All right. Now the fun part. So what I need here, take too much. I was going to do the palette cam, but it involves changing some settings on the the switcher here, and I just don't want to do it. Chris, what the heck? Dude. You're amazing, man. Thank you so much. Holy crap. What does that do? Oh, look at that. Can I do that to all of them? I can. I can put love hearts on your super stuff. Thank you. That's amazing, dude. Thank you so much. That's awesome. All right. Sometimes I use the super chat money for beer. I admitted that. But I do drink on the feed, so it's kind of like a, thing. Maybe. Anyway. All right. Where do I start? I usually start with black. I immediately grabbed black. The other thing I got to do too is this. Yeah, thank you, Chris. That's crazy talk, dude. All right, I'm grabbing another copy. The reason why I'm grabbing a copy is because I want to be able to see the details. And I've talked about this before too, so I'm just going to cut this copy like this, because all I need is the wheel. I really want to see the wheel. And I'm just going to drop that right next door so you guys can see it too. Matt, oh, dude, thank you so much. Really. All of you guys. Even, yeah, and don't feel like you gotta, I deeply, deeply appreciate the financial support. That's amazing. That, like I said, it helps keep things going. But again, just you clicking that like button and commenting on it, all that helps everything grow too. So certainly that's enough. If you can do that for me, it's the power of the algorithm. You know what I'm saying? So, I made a decision a long time ago not to play the game, meaning, what's new in the algorithm this week that I need to change what I'm doing so that I get more people. I gave up doing that a long time ago. For me, I put out stuff that I hope is good that people will like, and if people like it and they'll respond by commenting and liking and subscribing, and that's it. So I've seen plenty of people get burnt out and get really, really upset trying to keep up with, what's new in the algorithm. So I don't want to play that. All right, so what I'm going to do first is this, since I need a place to start and I'm kind of waffling on where to start. I'm going to I'm going to paint the inside of the wheel well, that rolled over edge of the body. So what I'm doing is off to the side here, I have the same red, which is this whole series is based off of Pyro Red. So I got a little bit of red and a little bit of black. It gives me kind of this maroon color, which is nice. And that's the color for the inside of this. You see that gap right there? That's the part of the opening of the fender that rolls over. So I could do this with the airbrush, but this would be a tough thing to spray in and keep it clean because it's so thin. I'm going to get, a lot of paint blowing around where I don't want it to. And since this is a darker color, I really want to keep that edge nice and clean. So this is a good opportunity to use the paintbrush instead of the airbrush. And it's super thin, so I'm not going to get any I will get it streaky. It will go on streaky, but by going over it a few times with the paintbrush, I can blend that in, and it'll look just like the smoothness of the airbrush. It's just going to take a few coats. Lewis, your teaching style seems more natural versus some of the others. For one, I appreciate your approach to the channel. Oh, awesome, man. Thank you. I was super fortunate. And you know what? I think good teachers are because those people had good teachers. I'm 100% convinced of that. And it goes back to that whole thing, sometimes people who can do something really well just can't teach it, and that's okay. But I grew up with some amazing teachers, and not just art. Like I had some people who were really super influential in what I'm doing in my artwork. But I've had other teachers too that are completely unrelated, and everyone usually does, you know, have a teacher that you really like connected with and, you know, really got through to you. So I've been super fortunate that I've had a number of those teachers. And in essence, what they were doing was in between teaching me how to do whatever they were teaching me how to do, they were teaching me how to teach too. And that's yeah, I don't, you can't put like a mark on that. It's just really great. So thank you, Louis, but I'll pass that backwards to those people that have been, you know, really important that way in my life. So there you go. So that's as simple as that was. Just mix up the right color, that maroon color, and then I fill in the gap. Now there's one in the back of the car too. No, there isn't. What do you know? I thought there was one in the back fender too, but there isn't. One interesting thing that's going on in the back here though is I got to clean up that background behind it. That came out pretty crappy. Huh. Well, I can do that after. That's a background thing. What's the mixture on the brush paint? Okay, so that color was opaque black and pyrrole red. I use reducer, just a regular 4011 reducer as the reducer for that. So that's the mix usually that goes with. And I've been using 4011 as a paintbrush reducer forever since they came out with it. Just the way that it breaks the paint down, not really breaks the paint down, but the way it reduces the paint works really, really well with the paintbrush. There was a time when I couldn't get the airbrush to spray the right way with 4011, so I was using all 4012, but that has since changed since they changed the formula. So now I use 4011 for everything, and that's a good thing, because I like having only one reducer, you know, for the whole thing. All right, so let's move on. So yeah, I think I am, no, I'll do the clouds. I'll do the white. So I'm gonna grab just straight up white. I'm going to start dropping some of these. No, do I want to do this? Boys and girls. I'll get it. I will. I promise. Oh, that's the other thing. My uncle, the watercolor, my uncle, the watercolorist, Marine combat pilot. So when he first introduced these brushes to me, I was a kid. I'll never forget it. So he cleaned off his brush and then he did this. And I looked at him in horror, and I'm like, you just put your paintbrush in your mouth. And he looked right back at me and he said, if your paintbrush isn't clean enough to do that, your paintbrush isn't clean. And I never forgot that. Plus the Winsor Newton, it's very like Radium Girls. You guys have heard the story about the Radium Girls. They would use, you know, this irradiated paint for these dolls, and they ended up having like horrible, you know, radiation damage to their face and their nose and everything. It's terrible. It's a fascinating story. But anyway, the Winsor & Newton, when I was watching a video on how they make these brushes, they still do that. They still put the brush in their mouth to point them. And most people, like on the post I saw of it, they're like horrified, like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get that brush and someone's cooties on it or whatever. But like I said, I grew up that way, so that's how I know those brushes are supposed to work. So the ladies and gentlemen who make Series 7 brushes can most certainly point them in their mouths. That's fine. I'm going to rinse them out anyway, but there you go. What else we got? Dan. Where's Dan? Dan who? I see. Hello, Dan. Hello, Dan. Oh, Dan, right there. What's up, Dan? I'll be all right. All right, so why I was putting the brakes on the clouds is because I have to put the blue of the, so sky is lightest at the horizon and then gets deeper as you look up. So I got to do that same thing here before I put the clouds in, because that's how that's going to work. So I'm going to need this brush for that. And I hate to say it, I mean, if you guys have been watching the Open Studio, that's a good representation of how I work. It's chaotic. I'd love to say I have a set method of doing everything, but it's never like that. And I don't entirely know that it's not intentional. Like I talk about it in Open Studio a lot, where sometimes I'll bounce around a lot on a painting, and it's more just to kind of keep me engaged in it. The Open Studio, I definitely talk about that, because that Harley painting has so much of the rust going through the whole painting that if I were to just do the rust and get all that done first, I'd lose my head because it's like 20 hours of just that. So I do bounce around a lot. All right, so to get this blue a little bit darker where it needs to be, I'm going to use, this is one of the common mixes for me. It's 40-50 and 40-11, and it's mixed 1-5. So it's 1 part 40-50 to 5 parts reducer. Essentially, I keep talking about it's like a spiked reducer. So it's reducer, but it's got some 40-50 in it to give the paint back its body. And I'm going to use a little bit of opaque phthalo blue to give myself a darker kind of sky blue. What else we got? Sarah's like working on my house. That's okay, dude. What do we got going on? Anything fun? Building a giant deck where you can sit out and enjoy the sunsets, or I'm hoping it's something like that, and not like what I have to do and replace all the guts of one of the toilets, which is all part of fun. But anyway, all right. So this blue, I can wing it. I don't have to use any masks or anything because there's other stuff that's going to cover if I get it in a spot that I don't need it. But basically, so you can see it, the way the reflection is and the way that it's inverted in this wheel, the area closest to the inside of the wheel is actually the highest point in the sky. So it goes. Basically, it goes dark blue to light blue from inside to out. And that's what we're going to do here. Now, the hub of the wheel has this on it too, but it's almost all this blue. So we'll mess with that. Now, the nice thing is I don't have the tire color in at all. So I don't even have to worry about, there we go. I don't have to worry about getting blue on the tire part of it because that's all going to be, painted gray and you'll never see it. I feel like there's black coming out still. That's not what I want at all. Make sure we don't have any black coming out. There we go. That's better. When it's reduced like this and has a 40-50 in it, this paint is even more slow to develop as far as, you can't get opacity with this much reducer in it. You could, but you'll end up it'll be a physical layer of paint. It'll be so thick. So again, I have to be even more patient when it's like this. Actually, I'm going to add a little bit more paint because I'm a bit impatient right now. Your interview in Airbrush Art in Action is how I got to know you because I've always been interested in aircraft. Having lived in old World War II airfield, you inspired me. Astral, that's amazing. Astral, that article came out like 20 years ago. I'm blown away. Thanks, man. I still have that painting too. It was of a B-52 bomber that was left behind. Essentially, they during Vietnam, some planes they just literally stripped down to nothing for parts, and it would have cost more to get the shell out of there, so they just left it. And it's this B-52 just kind of sitting there in the jungle. It's crazy. I could talk for a while about that article. That was my first magazine article too. Was it 2001? Maybe before that, 99 or 98. I had got a message. Oh no, it was. There used to be a magazine called Airbrush Magazine, and it was run by Mickey Harris, and everyone knows Mickey Harris. He's a fantastic artist, does some crazy stuff, and he ran this magazine called Airbrush Magazine, and that was the first Airbrush magazine I ever saw. So I know Airbrush Action was out at the same time, but I found Airbrush Magazine first. So they had a contest every year called the Top Gun contest, and I entered a painting in that, and what I didn't realize was Mickey was in the process of selling the magazine. So he actually sent me a note saying, hey, I saw your entry. I really liked it. We're in the middle of selling the magazine, so we're not going to do the contest, but I'd like to forward your name to the new owner, which everyone knows Roger Hassler now has, well, that Airbrush Magazine was kind of kind of sucked into that, so they kind of merged, and that's how I got that article. So it was Airbrush Step by Step. It was the brand new magazine, and or the included Airbrush magazine, and that's how that article happened. It was really good. So that's how I got to meet. Not actually, but that's how I first was introduced to Eddie Wooters. He was the one who took my chicken scratches and turned them into an actual article, which is fun. Anyway, so hopefully you saw that. I just, added that little blue in there on both, like that. Yeah, that was a good time. It was fun. I'd never written an article like that before, and it was definitely a learning experience for me. And then they were really nice. They ended up doing a little feature in the same magazine, which was a blast. So, yeah, that was great. I enjoyed that. 12, yeah, Tim, thanks. Right. One leg was 12, Tim. That was good. All right, so I got white. Now I can throw the clouds in. So the clouds are neat because I have the blue in here. How close are you guys? How close can I get you? Let's get you real close for this. Hold on a second. Come on in. Oh, there we go. This way. I can't do this with my glove on. There we go. Let's go there. Yes, you got to be right on it. Oh, okay, that's better. Now I got to look around the camera though. Yeah, I want to say it was 2001 for that, if I remember right. Is that right? 2001? It was either 2001 or 99. I can't remember. Okay. So the clouds themselves, what's nice about the clouds is because I've got the blue in there, the blue is actually going to act like the shadow part of the cloud. So I don't have to paint all the clouds in. I just do the area that the light is on. And the rest will be kind of just implied, I guess. And this is just straight opaque white. Palette that a little bit better. It's almost new brush day. This brush has just about had it. So I went to the Butler yesterday and picked up my painting. That was another amazing, crazy time. So I've been in a lot of shows, which has been super crazy fortunate for me, but I've never been in a museum show. So that was my first museum show. And Tim's familiar with the Butler because they often sponsor the Pastel Society of America shows. And it's the Butler Institute of American Art. So it sounds like a school, but it's not. It's a museum. And yeah, so it was great to be able to go over there. It was amazing to, have my stuff in the same building as like Peter Mayer and Rockwell, and they just have a great collection. So, and Tim's teacher and mentor, Harvey Dinerstein, is in there as well. And like Tim had mentioned before, when we were talking about the show and everything, the ultimate thing is to have a museum feel that your piece is something that they need in their collection. That is, for an artist, I think, well, for me specifically, I think that's probably one of the highest honors that you can get. Now, I don't have that yet, but it's always on the hope list, the bucket list to produce a painting that you feel that the museum feels worthy to include in their collection. So just running around this and dropping in wherever the clouds should be. Oh, I gotta look around the camera now to see that thing. Oh, thanks, Tim. You know, I don't know. I don't know. And that's, you know, that's a whole other discussion about where, like, we all want to produce, you know, good art. We all want to produce art that makes us happy, that we look at and say, okay, you know, I did the best I could on that. And that I'm not saying you fell short. I'm saying you feel like you did the best you could. And that's your best, and it was you know, a successful painting. From there, you have zero control really about how your art fits into the rest of the world and to art history, essentially. So it's something you know, I guess if it's something that's important to you, you strive for, but you don't plan for, I think. Because again, you don't know how your stuff really fits in. I do realism, you know, photorealism. Photorealism and hyperrealism might not be a thing right now. You know, I don't really pay too much attention to it because it's the artwork that I like to do. So even if, say, surrealism or whatever style of art is hot right now, I don't want to switch what I'm doing just to do stuff that fits in with, you know, what the rest of the art world is feeling is important in this stage of the game. So, I mean, you hope that you're doing something that's kind of fits in and is going to be important, but you don't have too much control over that, I guess. Again, unless you want to play the game, unless you want to chase it down. Like, oh, today I'm an abstract artist because that's what's hot. I don't want to do that. It definitely dilutes you as an artist, and unless you're amazingly flexible in your creation of art, that you can move from discipline or style to style, you know, I don't know. It's not something that I think is sustainable. Plus, then, you know, talk about the worst thing to happen is you're doing some kind of art you don't like, and that's what hits. You know, all of a sudden, you're known for stuff you don't want to do. So, no thanks. All right. That's good. So what's nice about this is you guys are right on this. The clouds are pretty subtle, but they're there, and that's what I want. I don't want them, like in the photograph, in the reference photo, the blue is a little bit deeper, but I don't want to go there because it'll cause the clouds to pop out more, and I don't want the clouds to be a big part of it. The clouds tell the story that the rest of it tells too. So the cloud reflections are in the top of the car here. Is that focused? Make sure that's focused. So the clouds are obviously in the reflections on in the car, so they need to be down on the wheel too. But I don't want them to be the star of the show. You know what I mean? I just want them to be kind of implied, and I think that's what we're going for. Yeah, Lewis, you got it exactly. On the other side of that too, I don't want that feeling to cause people to get stuck in what they do either. You know, to be afraid to try new things. That's not, I don't think that's where I want to be either. So, and it's a tough thing to kind of balance, because, you know, when you go to art school, or even not art school, even if you're just in the, you know, in the vein of, you know, getting your stuff out there, everyone says you got to have a style, you know, you got to do something to be, you know, that sets you apart, or whatever all that stuff is. But on the other side of that too, you can't get there unless you try new things, and so it's kind of a two-edged thing there. All right, that's all the clouds for the back. Super easy. Now I can do the darker stuff. Well, let's do the darker ones. We'll do the black next. I'll do the scratching last, I think. You guys are right on that thing, right? Okay. All right, black. So with the black, we can start to put in some of those really fine details that you just can't get by cutting stuff out. good. And, we talk about, style and developing your style, or, however you want to look at that. That was the hardest thing, and, as I was going through school and everything, and I'm looking at all these artists that I really respect, and like I said, they all have a style that you can pick out their work just by looking at it. I was like, how do you even come up with that? And what I found, and by having good instructors, the rule of thumb is you do what resonates with you, and your style will come up by itself. That's not what you want to hear when you're struggling with that, but it's absolutely true. If you do what you do, and you do things the way you like to do them, and you become proficient at it, your style takes care of itself. You can't do that, do what's important to you and then not have it develop naturally. It just happens. If you're always like copying someone else's style, you're always going to look like someone else's stuff. But if you're doing stuff that resonates with you, that's where that comes from. You don't have to try. It's the neatest thing. I think people try to force a style. They try to, come up with something, so they try different styles, and they never feel like they get there, because it just doesn't resonate with them. It doesn't mean anything to them. So move around the camera so I can see what's going on here. Yeah, Tim, that's a great analogy. Your handwriting is the same way. You may seem like my dad had, the engineer handwriting. Oh, he wrote all in caps. His letter style was beautiful. I loved it. I would have loved to write like him, but I just couldn't. So I still write with a lot of caps, but it doesn't look like his. I feel guilty, and Dad, I'm so sorry, but I also could forge his signature too. So don't tell anyone. You tell everyone now. So yeah, so I would get my less than stellar report cards. Yeah. And he had a beautiful signature too. So it took a while to get that down. Terrible. Oh boy. What are you going to do? What I really should have done, the hustle I really should have had, which I'm glad I didn't because it probably would have got me in serious trouble, is I could have sold parental signatures. You know what I mean? I had an ability to like be able to like copy signatures pretty well. And so I should have, in elementary school, I should have sold my services. If you didn't have a great report card, or you had a note that went home that needed to be signed, I could have cleaned up in between getting kicked out. So my mom is left-handed, but she has beautiful penmanship too. I had an easier time. I only tried my mom's signature a couple times, but my dad's signature I got down. The problem is, and it never really happened, but it came close. If you write someone, like you write your parent's signature better than they write it themselves, like there are a couple times that I would actually get his signature and he would just kind of scribble it on there and it didn't look like his signature. So that was always fun too. Like, damn it, Dad. So this area here, like these concentric circles on this wheel hub, you're going to see, like, I'm just kind of like slopping them in there right now. I'm going to fix them as we go. I'm just kind of getting some of the shapes kind of worked out first so that I know where we're going here. And again, this is just opaque black. Yeah, okay. So let me fix that inner circle there. The inner circle. Come on, man. It's going to my blog. Yeah, you can do that. Dad would probably think it, well, before his struggles with Alzheimer's, he probably would have thought that was funny now. I know if my kids told me that story at this point in my life, I would think that was funny now. All right, so I'm grabbing a little bit of the same thing, the daylight blue and the white. So now what I can do with the same color, it's that same blue, sky blue color that I had in here originally. Now I can start like kind of reshaping the stuff that maybe didn't come out quite right. So like that wheel hub that, you know, isn't quite round enough and has some hitches in the black. I can just kind of erase those errors and throw this back in there. Do the other side of the hub too. This is drying out really quick. We must be dropping in humidity. I can always tell by how fast the paint dries. Like when it was like full on summer and it was super juicy outside, like, you know, 100% humidity, it's actually the best time to paint for me because the paint doesn't like seize up. It just stays, you know, it doesn't dry very quickly, which is good. Gives you a little bit of extra time. So there's some reflections in the building. Oh, yeah, this is the building too. So that's okay. I'll throw them in there too. So with these mini paintings, this stuff here is what takes the longest time. There is a lot of back and forth. Like I'll put the blue in and I'll screw the blue up and I'll have to put more black in. And then I'll start over again. And it's like, okay, then I put too much black in and I got to grab the blue again. So it's a lot of back and forth. But in the end, it's fun. It's worth it. Yeah, I really should have sold that service. I could have made a ton. Or what I should have done is been a better student. That's really what should have happened. But I was too busy playing D&D and in television. And it didn't rub off. One of my best friend in elementary school was a certified genius. He was brilliant. And even hanging around him, man, I didn't pick any of that up. So this is white, if you didn't notice. And I'm just kind of cleaning up any of the, you know, those areas in the black that didn't really work out the right way. It's funny, you know, people ask all the time, you know, oh, how your eyes feel after a day of doing this. It's so funny that this stuff doesn't affect my eyes, like fatigue-wise, as much as like looking at the phone. If I'm on my phone for an hour, like if I'm watching YouTube videos or whatever, by the time I'm done on my phone, I'm like cross-eyed. This stuff is actually really, I don't know if it's a, I don't know why, but this stuff doesn't fatigue me as much as, you know, looking at my phone does. So, Sea Battle, yes. Our big one was I forget what the car racing one was, and B-17 Bomber. That was a big one for us. We never had an Atari, a 2600, but we were like the first to get in television. And then again, this genius friend of mine, he also had one. So so we would play a lot of Intellivision. All right, this should be scratched right here, like scratched to get this out, but I'm gonna do it with paint just to kind of set that hub up a little bit. All right, I shouldn't go too far with this right now because what I need to do, what's in here, blue? Yeah, I got to do the same thing with the shading on the gray before I start getting too much paint on there. Because if I don't, I mean, it's not going to make too much difference with the black that I'm about to put in, because the details are gray, you know, and black anyway with the paintbrush. So they'll go right over the black anyway. But if I have any white to put in on the top part of this, which I do a little bit, I want to get this shading in first so I can just do the white and not worry about it. Now, here we go. So I got to find that one bottle of black that I put in the wrong spot. What did I do with it? Oh, it's totally in the wrong spot. All right. Totally, I can paint or tattoo for hours on end, no problems. But if I'm photoshopping, my eyes are red and raw by the end of the day. Svi, it's amazing. It's amazing how fatigued I am. Right, if I'm like editing videos all day like I did yesterday, by the end of it, I'm ready for a nap. I'm wiped out. And I've never had a computer job, so I have a lot of new sympathy for people who have a job where they're like staring at a computer all day. It's completely fatiguing. Never mind if you have a job that's mentally fatiguing. If you're doing a computer job that wipes you out. I mean, editing videos is fun, but still, by the end of the day, I'm like, ooh. So I've been trying hard. Like last night, Tim's feed comes on at 9 o'clock on Wednesday. So if anyone who's not following Tim, I think everyone is, but if you're not following Tim, go throw him a follow too. Every Wednesday he goes live at 9:30, and if I've had a long day on Wednesday, I'll start watching his feed and I'll be watching on my phone, and I just like pass out. So I try to keep up with it, but yeah. All right, so this is just straight black, but this is the mix is 1 to 10. So it's 1 part paint to 10 parts reducer. And again, through any other brush, this would be a mess because it's way too thin, right? But through this brush, it works the way it should work. Now I'm going to grab a piece of paper just to block off this little bit of sky here, because I don't want to get black on that, but I do want to get the a little bit of darkness in there, that fade. Like that. I'm going to leave it there. I feel like it needs to be darker, but I'm going to wait before I do that, because it's always easier to add a little bit than to try to take it away. Yeah, I like that. Good. All right, so now back to it. I like that. I don't like that. Okay, so I don't like that. What I don't like is the bottom part of this one. So this is what I'm talking about. So I did this center piece of this hub. This part of it down here is not in the right spot. So I'm going to essentially erase it, but I'm going to erase it with the blue. I could try to scratch it out or erase it for real, but it's just as easy to take the blue and just go over this and just make it go away. And then I don't have the aggravation of trying to match that and fix it and blah, blah, blah. Just by using the blue, it just takes it out. I gotta let that dry for a second because I can't do the next step. So I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of a preview treat. Hold on. All right. So we're letting that dry. There we go. Cool story. Still at 9:30 because in 2016 I was working full time. I got home at 7:30, so we kept it at 9:30. Tim, I really like that time spot too. I mean, yeah, that hurts for the people, like, well, why I do this one at 1 in the afternoon Eastern, so the GMTers don't have to be up all night. But yeah, for West Coasters, Tim, that I don't have a feed that works for like the West Coast of the U.S. At 6 o'clock on Monday night, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon in California, and even this feed, they can watch me paint while they're eating breakfast. So I like that 9:30 spot. I just don't have it in me to do another feed. All right, so here is the progress on the Harley painting. So again, you won't see this for a few weeks. I just got to this point in the motor, but this painting is going along fast and furious now. I don't know how many episodes this will be total, but we're definitely coming down to the end now on this. I'm really, really happy. It's going to be nice to get this done. Honestly, this painting is going to be a, 35 hour painting when it's done. There's just a lot to it. And I've also decided that I have a frame for it that I originally ordered. I'm not going to use that frame for this painting though. I'm going to order a custom frame for this. It's going to be much wider than what I have. I think this painting needs it. So if you're not following the Open Studio, again, working on the tank right now, but we do get that done in the next couple weeks, which is exciting. All right, that is drying out, so I can fix that for real. Get that to black. So that inner circle on that hub, I had it out too far. It's really more squished than when I had it. It's more like that. That's better. The reason why that's important is because there's other concentric circles around it that need to kind of fall into place. Asphalt, thank you. Thanks, V. Thanks, buddy. Do you have another project in mind for the next Open Studio? Tim, I do. So people have been asking, and I needed to do this anyway. So the next Open Studio painting is going to be a razor blade painting. And that's going to be the main one. The other thing to keep in mind too, I don't know if it's going to be a Patreon thing or if it's going to be a YouTube membership perk. But I have Brad Mummery. I did a painting of his cutlass, and I have all the footage for that. So I'm turning that into an Open Studio as well. But that's painting's all done. He has that painting. So that's going to be the perk for the people who are members or Patreon members. The exclusive access to that other entirely separate Open Studio. So that's the plan anyway. All right, good. So that's the black. That's in the right spot. I'm happy with that. So now I can jump back to the white here. Yeah, the razor blade painting is fun because I get a bunch of people asking about it, and I've done how-tos in magazines, like along the way. But people have never seen it like for real, like an Open Studio type thing. So I'm excited for that. That's going to be fun to show everyone all the prep and, really, how we're talking about going back and forth on this wheel hub. The entire razor blade painting is that. It's just all going back and forth. And you just keep going until you kind of get it the right way, and then that's when it's done. So it's definitely more nitpicky, but it'll be fun. It'll be a car or something. That seems to be what the blade paintings gravitate to. I've done other blade paintings of different subjects, but the hot rods really seem to play well with those paintings. Again, this is just straight up white. Literally just using the tip of this brush. So highlights. So when you get down to this stuff, these little bits and pieces are essentially just paintings on all their own, and that's kind of the way that I think about them. If I didn't, I'd lose my mind, because you get so wound up in getting something done. But if you treat each little section like its own painting, then it makes it easier to kind of stay focused on it. Or at least it does for me. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Yeah, Tim, it'll be a lot of fun. So I'll pick a bright hot rod. I have tons of photographs. The other thing that the razor blade paintings seem to work better as, put that back on too. Right? Yeah. Like bright cars tend to work really well for the razor blade paintings. Not intricate chrome, like there's a, you know, a T-bucket type razor blade painting that I like a lot, but chrome works really well if it's more, you know, like, I don't know, like bigger chunks of it. Like a 57 Chevy would make a great blade, something like that. Super intricate detail, it sometimes doesn't work. Like I did the Manhattan skyline on a razor blade. That was fun, and it works out really good, but it doesn't have the same impact from far away. It's like I did the Grand Canyon on one as well. The thing with the hot rod paintings is from like 5 feet out, you can still tell it's a hot rod on a razor blade. It's a neat thing. Where if you have something completely like the skyline or the Grand Canyon or something like that, it just looks like a brown razor blade or you know, a blue razor blade or whatever. You have to get really, I mean, that's okay too, but there's something about being able to grab someone from across the room with one of those that makes those hot rods really work well for that subject. So, all right, where are we at? Yeah, we're ready for some, yeah, let's do some scratching because got to get something done on this. So, razor blade, the X-Acto. So the X-Acto works really well for doing really incredibly, really thin lines. Thinner than you could get with, you know, I mean, I could get this with the paintbrush, but it's just so much more efficient with the razor blade. And this board, this is obviously there's Autoborn sealer on this. There's Autoborn sealer white on this. But even if I scratch through the white, I'll get down to the white of the clay board. So in that way, it doesn't, you know, it doesn't really make a difference. A little more black on that. Do that while I'm bumming around here. All right. A little bit more black up here. Here we go. Oh, there's that too. All right. No, maybe not. Yeah, I'm going to do that just so I can see where I'm going. Okay. I know I'm talking to myself. Sorry. Let's go this way. So what I'm talking about is there's this this little ridge right here that kind of separates the top of the hub from the side of the hub, which has all these, you'll see them, all these like, it's like fluted on the side of this hub. So I'm going to put that separation there just so I know where I'm going with the fluting, and you'll see it. I'll do that with a knife. All right, so here's the fun part. So the top part is, you can see it, it'll help. So the top part is black here, but the bottom part is light. So that fluting goes across the whole thing. So what we're gonna have to do for the top part of it is use the knife to get those in. And then for the bottom part, I have to use a paintbrush. So pick up where that left off with the paintbrush. I'm just paleting the brush really, really well so I have a really sharp point on this. And I need a little bit darker. I had too much reducer in it, so it's kind of gray. I don't want to have to do this twice. Stunning. It works. So there's all that stuff going on there. Just gotta fix the top of that a little bit. So this one at the top is a little bit too thick, because again, this is paintbrush, and I kind of hit it a little bit too hard. So I'll just thin it out with the black, so it's not as in your face. And then what do we got there? In the middle of this thing, some sort of reflection of something. It's right here, so we'll put that in. So if I can't tell what a reflection is, and it doesn't, grossly take over something, I'll leave it in, even if I don't know what it is. So if it's something crazy, like I'll usually always take people out of the reflection. So if I see, like if I'm taking the photograph, which I took of this car, if I see my reflection in it, I'll take me out. I won't always do that. Like I didn't, obviously, on the painting I just picked up at the Butler. That was the whole point of it. You can see me and two of our friends in the bike reflection. But if it takes away from it, then I'll definitely take it out. Okay, I'm going to widen this a little bit because I'm going to put a reflection in this as well. So we'll get the rest of that ridge like that. Excellent. So tiny. And put a little extra something on that one. That's good. Okay. So there's a white highlight. You guys are there, right? Actually, not quite. Let's move over a little bit. There we go. So there's a white highlight that splits this thing right here. And again, this is where the knife is so accurate. It lets me just kind of split that black line with those two. All right, so I can't do. So the outside rim of this wheel is. I'll show you. It's got a lot going on with the outside rim. You see the shadow there. Also the actual rim of the wheel, the highlights on that. I can't do that yet because I need the tire to do that. So honestly, we are pretty much, oh no, I gotta put a little bit of black in this. Okay, hold on. Do I still have black? I think I still have black in the brush, I hope. I think I do. Yeah, I do. Lovely. So I gotta darken this part of the hub. I have the highlight in the wrong spot. So I'm going to darken the top of this hub a little bit. And then I can put the highlight back in. And we're going to be pretty much set with this. Hold on, I got to get my paintbrush out of the... Visionaire setup is awesome. However, it's got all these tracks. And whenever I drop anything important immediately falls into the track, and then I got to fish it out. Like my paintbrush. All right. What's it doing? Oh yeah, that's what it's doing. Okay. The highlights. Before I do the highlights, let me just finish this one section here. Get some more black on here. It's a really super thin line that follows this reflection of the sky. And that's probably the inside of the wheel well that does that. Like that. And as I'm thinking about it and I see them, little highlights in this too. Excellent. Okay, good. All right, now the white. So I just got to put those highlights back in on the bottom. They were in the wrong spot. It's this big one right here. Little one right there. That's all it is. And there's one at the bottom here that I didn't put in, so I'll just throw that in now. Like that. Good. I'm happy with that. All right, so let's back you guys up. I'll show you what we got. So you don't go on a ride. I'll do this so you can see it from pretty far back. But I'll move the camera out here. So you guys will get kind of a full-on view. That's much better. Okay, good. So now I can do this. So now that's what we got. So there we go. There's your chrome wheel. Again, when I get the tire in, I'll be able to finish it, and the sky part of it will pop out, you know, a little bit more. But again, the goal for the clouds and the sky was to have it match what's going on up here. Up here, I took out, you can't really see it, but it's there, especially in this part of the car. That green is really there. That's the reflection of the trees through the yellow. That's why it turns it that green color. Obviously, I took it out here. So I'm not concentrating. You know, that's the tree reflection right there, and I have it in mine. Mine isn't going to be trees. It's going to be something else. I don't know what it's going to be, but I'm just going to leave it. So again, you know, I don't want to have any, I want to have these two areas match. The other really cool thing about this from a compositional type of standpoint, this sets up this triangle between the blues in the painting. So your eye will just keep bouncing back and forth. And even though the car kind of shoots off the side and you would think, you know, your eye would just kind of follow the car off the board and then go on to the next painting, that really, that triangle really holds you in place, which is nice. So there you go. How many layers of Autoborn did you use? So that's, I'd say that's 3 or 4. It covers really, really well. So it depends on, you know, how many chunks I get in it. So sometimes a bit will, you know, kind of, I'll spray it and there'll be some, you know, even though I strain it, there'll still be some bits or pieces or whatever. So then I'll have to sand it. So it depends on how many times that happens. Sometimes I can get away with just doing 3, but usually it's 4. And that's you follow the directions on the Autoborn sealer 100%. So it's, you reduce it from between 10 to 15%, and you spray it through a gun, and it works really, really well. What's the most challenging project you've had over the years? What made it so challenging? Lewis, that's an awesome question. I'll switch, well, actually we'll do this, because you guys can look at that. I'm sure that's better than look at it, you know, just my ugly face. So the painting I spent the most time on was the Scotch bottle painting back, I think it was 2008 maybe. That painting took over 100 hours. That was the most involved and crazy painting that I've ever done. And the only reason it took, you know, the only reason it made it the most challenging is because it took as long as it did. I was really burnt out by the end of that one. The good news is it was during the time when airbrush.com was running, the forum. And so what I was doing was I was posting it as I was working on it. Not every day or every, you know, but once a week at least. And that really kept me motivated. It kept me, yeah, it really just kept me motivated to keep working on it, because I knew I had to post something, or I wanted to post something on it, and so that you know, really kept me going on it. Other than that, it probably would have taken years to get that painting done. So that's probably the most crazy thing. And then as far as challenging or ones that, you know, were difficult, early on when I was taking on commissions for stuff I really didn't want to do, those are always tough, because you don't want to do them. You know, you have no creative drive to get them done other than the paycheck. So fortunately there aren't those anymore, so I'm happy about that. What else we got? That's it. That's it. That's it. All right, cool. Let me switch out here. We'll move this out now. We don't need that. Actually, I'm going to unplug that so it's not so, yeah, that's not so bad. All right, so great. Thank you all for jumping in. Thank you everyone who with the super chats. Again, that's crazy. That's awesomely huge. I love it. Thank you for clicking that like, and thank you for subscribing. Again, I'm going to post that community post about Tech Tuesday. If you have any ideas, you know, it'll be a place where you can just drop your comments in there, and that's what I got. So happy weekend, everyone. It's Labor Day weekend? Is it Labor Day weekend? I think it's Labor Day weekend here in the U.S. So go eat your hot dogs and hamburgers. We're going to be going to the Canfield Fair at some point, which is the big county fair. It's huge fair out here. So we'll be popping into that at some point to eat a bunch of fried food that we shouldn't eat, but that's what I got. So, all right, guys, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys are amazing. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will catch you all next week. Thanks a lot. Where's the button? Where's the button? I don't even know what button it is. Maybe this one.